Hello, everyone. This is the Astrofiend, and I'm here with another podcast. I wasn't planning on doing a podcast, but I'm trying something a bit different. This will be podcast 7, and pretty much I'm going to be talking about, I guess, the end and closing thoughts on Libra and Libra season, how Scorpio season's near, Jupiter and Scorpio, and just like thoughts and I don't know, stuff like that. Anyway, I just want to bring up some points and I guess closing thoughts from my last podcast. In my last podcast, I talk about how the world, like we as people, need positivity, but most importantly, I talk about that we need honesty. And I feel that for right now, honesty in some ways outweighs the need for positivity because, as I said before, like Pluto and Scorpio generation is taking power from Pluto and Libra generation to Pluto and Virgo generation. This is my generation, and we're rising to power. We're of age now, with the oldest members being born in 1983, so they're around their early 30s. And for the Pluto and Scorpio generation, if you know anything about Scorpio, like Scorpio is a very emotionally intense sign, so they need to explore emotional depths and to be honest, to be real. Scorpio's rulers are Pluto, which is its more modern ruler, and Mars, which is the traditional ruler. Most astrologers go just like the main Scorpio ruler, but I don't. I like to include both. I like to include the traditional and the more modern planets because, I don't know, like, I'm very into like history and like just acknowledging the past, which I think is important because a lot of what's going on in the past dictates the future. And I even consider like Pisces to be ruled by both Neptune, which is like main more modern ruler, and Jupiter, which was the traditional like ruler. Like, I know that's not for everyone, and I guess more traditional, studious, professional astrologers may think this is wrong, but that's the way I interpret it. Like, I'm very traditional in some aspects in astrology, but at the same time, I don't know, I feel like we need to put like a little twist in it because, as I said before, history is important. To get back to like my, I guess, first point, because I went off in a tangent, we need honesty, and Pluto and Scorpio is just bringing all the secrets and darkness from our past and our history and our memories and our experiences. And I feel that we need honesty because never before in history have we have the tools to help us heal collectively. Because I'm from the United States, and if you know what's going on in the United States, it's a very politically charged environment. By the way, I usually shy away from politics. That's not my place, and I don't want to talk about politics because I hate it. But if you know what's going on, like in the United States, like there's a lot of things that are coming up that we never like addressed, like racism, quote unquote privilege, if you believe in that, and just like stuff like that. And aside from race, there's also gender, sexuality, like those kinds of things that we never talked about, and those things that are very honorable. And I feel like we need to be like honest with ourselves, and we need to be able to shed our pain, like find a way, like I don't understand how someone could be positive and preach positivity when they're not even honest with themselves. Like, I know it's painful and I know it's tough, but we have to be able to speak and to stand in our truths, no matter how uncomfortable and illogical and irrational and just painful it is. Like, and I also have to do that too. Because when I started this podcast, I wanted it to be first as a way to connect to others in this astrology and spirituality communities. As I said in my first podcast, my friends and family know that I'm into astrology, but at the same time, I won't say that they're intolerant, but for the most part, that's not their thing. They love that I'm interested, and sometimes they ask me questions and make comments and stuff like that, but my friends and family, I can't really talk about astrology to them because one, it's I won't say that they don't care about it, but they're not really interested in it. And two, I'm not a beginner. I consider myself an intermediate to advanced level in astrology. I won't say I'm an expert because I feel I need to have more of a structured education and training. But I'm intermediate to advanced. I know a lot of things. I'm definitely not a beginner. I've been, I guess, into and studying astrology for maybe about 10 years. I didn't really get too serious into astrology until 2010, 2011. But I've been rocking with astrology for a long time, ever since high school. And I'm way past high school now, but ever since high school. So astrology pretty much has been the most consistent thing from high school onward to my adulthood. And as I said before, to speak and to stand in our truths, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Which is why I want to tell you a quick story of my experience. And yeah, 2016 was a hard year for me, and it left me pretty jaded. I'm going to speak more on this in a separate podcast, but 2016 I had, my Saturn in the 4th house transit started. As you know, Saturn transits are usually 2.5 years, around that time, and it's been in transit since 2014. But yeah, so this was towards the end of my Saturn in the 4th house transit. But for some strange reason, 2014, 2015, the Saturn 4th house transit wasn't that bad, but 2016, that woke me the fuck up. If you know anything about Saturn in the 4th house transit, we have to break it down. Saturn in astrology is the planet of boundaries, responsibilities, discipline. It's all the serious things in life, death, taxes, blah blah blah. Saturn and Pluto are malefic planets. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but they're the more tougher planets, Jupiter and Venus. They're the light ones, the happy-go-lucky, charismatic ones. But Saturn, it's a tough placement. When Saturn transits a house, then things get real. Things get serious. And pretty much that's what happened. But in this situation, it was 4th house things. And if you know anything about the 4th house in astrology, the 4th house is about your childhood, it's about your home. The 4th house is ruled by Cancer and the moon. And if you know anything about Cancers, they're all about family, they're about taking care of others, and just things like that. But pretty much when you put Saturn in the 4th house, things become real, serious issues arise, stuff like that. And pretty much, as I said before, 2016 left me jaded. And I felt like very disillusioned. And the result of the end, towards the end of, well, it was towards the end because my transit ended sometime in January 2016. But like towards the end, like around November, like I decided to like move out on my own. FYI, I'm an adult, but random and a bit off topic, but like I come from a Caribbean household, so it's very like normal for like adult children to like live with their parents. It's like an extended family situation. I know like this is America and like the parents pretty much push like aka kick kids out at 18. But like in non-Western like sort of cultures and like households, like it's normal and it's actually encouraged for like adult children to live with their parents until like they have a family of their own. But like I decided to move out on my own earlier than I want to. Like my plan was to, save some money, take care of my student loans, and then move out. But like Saturn in the fourth house transit, like nope. They're like, nope, fuck your plans. You need to deal with your ish right now. And yeah. Fuck you, the astrofiend. Nope. And like this is hard for me to say, but out of all my years, this was like the first time that I felt like my parents couldn't protect me. Because it was a hard time. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that were happening. And I just realized a lot of things. And like a lot of like things about like my family and stuff like that. And like I realized that like my family's problems don't necessarily have to be my own, and I have to move in a space where I could focus on my goals and my dreams. Off topic too, but natally I have like Pluto in the fourth house, and my IC is also in Scorpio too. And a little bit off topic, but like most of my life, like Pluto like transited my fourth house. So it's like double like Pluto transits. If you notice anything about like the outer planets are Pluto, Neptune, Uranus. But yeah, the outer planets pretty much take longer time to transit a house. So like Pluto's like 10, 15 years. That's why we have generations. Like Pluto's like 10 to 15 years. It stays in like a position. I have to double check because I'm really just going off the top of my head, and I'm like, as I said before, I wasn't prepared to do this podcast, but I've just felt in my heart that I had to. But yeah, like outer planets, they take a bit longer to transit a house. Because like Jupiter, it takes like a year to transit. But like, as I said before, outer planets, they move slower. So it takes a bit longer to move out of a house. Anyway, like natally, as I said before, I have Pluto in the fourth house and my IC is in Scorpio. I won't say that like my childhood was perfect, but one thing I can say is that I always felt protected, and I always could count and depend on my parents. Like my parents, like I freaking love them. My family, like we all have our differences and stuff like that, but like I wasn't used in any way. And just like hearing other people's stories, like my friends' stories, and like the shit that like they've been through with their families and their situations, like I consider myself lucky. Before I never considered not never, but like when I became an adult, like, I don't know, I felt like I kind of like blame my parents for stuff. But like as I'm getting older, I'm just like counting my blessings. And like I am so grateful and thankful for like my family. Like they've protected me, and just to say that even though like they were very good parents and I wasn't abused and stuff like that, I just like started to realize a lot of things that were wrong. And that's how like I made the very tough decision to like move out on my own. And by the way, like I have lived like on my own technically before. Like I went away for school. I went away to like a different country in a different continent. Like I lived in a different country, which I now like when I think about it, it's just fucking crazy. But yeah, like whatever the case, like I just decided to move out because as I said before, like I was distracted with like family like problems and drama and stuff like that, and I just wanted to like start anew. And it was just a hard decision because I'm a very organized person and I make plans for everything. Like I'm type A all the way. Like I'm always prepared. I always have a list. Like, but this time, like I didn't. I was prepared. Well, I was prepared to move out, but at the same time, emotionally, like I wasn't like prepared. I wanted to stay like with my family longer, and I could have. Whatever the case, towards the end of like 2016 to 2017, like just anxiety and like fear. Even now, like it's less than before, but it's still like more than usual. And like I would say this, I've always been a pretty like anxious, worried, and fearful person, but now it's just like more to like the extreme. I would say the positive for the Saturn in the fourth house transit is that I don't know, like there's a sort of like blessings, and I'm just like I'm grateful. Like it's hard, it's very hard each day. As I said like in my previous podcast, like my idea of positivity is having like a reset button. Like not every day is going to be happy and not every day is going to be bad, but just know that you could wake up and begin again. And pretty much that's how like I'm also feeling now. I'm filled with like a lot of anxiety and fear. At the same time, like I am so fucking grateful and I'm blessed. Like some days it's like odd to me, but some days I just feel so content and so lucky, and I just like see all the beauty and the happiness in the world. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, it feels good to be alive. And that's the thing, like Saturn, it gives you lessons, and it gives you lessons in a hard way. And I'm still learning my lessons, and I won't say life is easier. It's a bit more complicated, but at the same time, a small part of me, because I still haven't overcome it yet, but a small part of me is very grateful to my Saturn in the fourth house transit. And like this is like me, like I guess like I'm not even preaching. I don't have any other words but to say this, but like practicing what I'm not preaching, but like talking about. Like we need this world. We need positivity, as I said before, but we need honesty. We need to stand and speak our truth. Like that is important. And now I'm sort of speaking my truth because, as I said before, like the reason why I started this podcast to connect to the astrology community, but the other part of me is to like have some use for my other placements. My moon in the third house, my Uranus and my Neptune in the fifth house, and I also have a North Node in the fifth house. And I'm trying to utilize this energy. Hell, even my Venus in Pisces. Because I keep saying this, but I'm Sagittarian and I'm Plutonian. Like, and if you know anything about that, like, Plutonian and Sagittarian, like, it's intense. Like, I don't know for you, but like, it's my theory that like when you have like a lot of Pluto and like Saturn like planets, like, I won't say it gives you more like anxiety or fear, but there's a chance that you can like develop a lot of anxiety and like fear, like issues and like troubles. And like, as I said before, like, I'm anxious and like fearful person, but I don't know, like, I feel like when I need to, I could just like call, like, just pull out strength. And like, I don't know, I'm very resilient. And this is some other topic because I don't want this to be too long, and I really don't know how the sound's gonna be, because like the sound on my last podcast was fucking crazy. It was disgusting, it was ratchet, I hated it. But like, I have like old fucking technology. Like, I'm out on my own, so, and I'm always saving, I'm always thinking about like a rainy day. Like, I'm a rainy day person. Like, you know, there's people that like to live life as it comes along, and just like, so, you know, like be like happy-go-lucky and they'll figure it out later on. Fuck that shit. That is not me. As I said before, I'm a type A. I like to be organized. I like to plan for like rainy days and all that other crap. Like, I am not the type of person that like puts things off, especially like important things, which is strange because this Saturn in fourth house transit like also taught me, like, I won't say how to relax, but just realizing that like sometimes plans that you have in life don't work out. And I guess that's one of my fears also, because like I had plans of, oh, I'm gonna move out after like I saved up like a lot of money and paid off all my loans. But life doesn't work out that way. Like, you can make plans, but like, I don't know, the stars, aliens, jinns, God, whoever is like saying, fuck out of here, bitch. Oh, you have plans? Ha, fuck that shit. That's not how life works. And like, a part of me now is a bit apprehensive of making plans, because anything can change. And that's what makes me a bit like afraid, that anything can change. Like, one minute I'm this way and another minute like just like a whole different path. But silly, that's how life works. And it's still hard for me to like process, but I'm working on it. I would also like to mention before I move on to like a different topic, but in response to like being more honest and to stand in our truth, it's very hard, because if you notice what's going on now, as the peace dealer, aka mystic illumination, as I'm saying, like, there is a spiritual warfare going on. Like, dark forces, they do want to keep us down. And like, this time and this energy is like very like dark. Like, social media, texting, all this digital like online proof, like, there's some real like vipers and like evil people out there that will use your pain and and your flaws and your character flaws and your imperfections against you. Like, we see this time and time again. And I guess that's one of my like fears and what makes me apprehensive about doing like a podcast, because I do want to be more vulnerable and I do want to open up and exercise my moon in the third house and Venus and Pisces like traits like to you guys. But I know, like, if I ever like become successful, some assholes, it could be strangers, it could be friends, because my Venus and my Mars is in my 7th house. So projection, like the house of like enemies, a whole different topic, but pretty much like people are gonna find a way to like use like yourself against yourself, if that makes any sense. Because in this world, like, it's just so strange. Because even like with the Doreen Virtue situation that I talked about a few podcasts ago, like, she decided to switch it up, and there are people that are just like calling her out by her name and saying that she's fake and a fraud. And I'm like, really? As I said before, people they want you to grow, but they also don't want you to change. You always have to be consistent. You always have to be sure about everything. And that's not how life works. Like, not everyone is fixed dominant. By the way, I'm fixed fucking dominant, but not everyone's fixed dominant. Like, freaking Kanye West is like a double mutable with his Gemini sun and Pisces moon. Like, you can't, like, no, there's a lot of people that are more mutable and changeable. And are you gonna hold like people's natures against them? Is this what we're doing? Like, because we're not perfect. I know for a fact I'm gonna have my ignorant, ratchet, like stupid moments, as I kind of like, I won't say this is an example, but it's similar. Like with my whole like why Libra ain't shit like posts. Like I said before, people were offended, blah blah blah. I don't care about all that, but if I make more stuff like that, random, but I'm gonna let you know now. Why Scorpio ain't shit post is gonna be worse than like Libra. So if any of y'all think I'm ignorant, think I'm this and that, then you know what? Just ignore me. Like, if you see like my poster, just ignore me, because it's just gonna get worse from there. As I said before, I'm equal opportunity shit talker. So if that's not your cup of tea, then just move along. But yeah, like, I guess my whole point is that we're all imperfect. We all need to be honest, but at the same time, like, I won't say we have to enable our imperfections, but like, we gotta work on them. But people also, and me, we also have to allow others and support others and getting to a place where their pains and character flaws can be used as like strengths and can be used to as a blessing. Because I don't know why, but like someone like now, like if someone does something wrong or fucked up, and okay, side note, like if someone like rape or murder someone, it's proven, then like fuck them. But what I'm saying like now, and the side note, like for like minor things, like people are just like discounting like people and casting them aside and saying, oh, you did this, fuck with you anymore because you did this. And maybe that's like Pluto and Scorpio generation. Maybe it's Pluto and Capricorn, which is like right now, but I don't know what that is. But like, we can't discard people too. Like, we all make mistakes. I'm gonna make mistakes, and I don't think that's right because, as I said before, we need honesty. We need to stand and speak in our truths. But how can we do that if we're gonna be condemned by it? Like, how? How does that work? But yeah, it makes no sense. Okay, on to my next topic. I guess I'll talk more about like Libra and Libra season before I start getting into Scorpio season. But I have a story. Kinda. I don't know, it's a bit off topic, but just like I guess part of like my experiences with Libra. I remember growing up in my childhood, I had like a very like two close friends. One of them was a Libra and one of them was a Leo. We're all very close. The one in Libra had to move out. And by the way, this is school friends. So we knew each other in school and we're very close in school and stuff like that. But the Libra friend, she's not from this country. Well, her family's not from this country. So she had to move out and we're all sad and blah blah blah. And like the Libra friend stayed behind. And this friend was not really a friend. This friend was like a friend of me. Like, I believe she had Aries moon, but we were constantly like butting heads. It was like frenemy situation, always competing. And I recognized my own like sort of faults in that situations because like, let me tell you something, right? Like, when I was like a kid, like, I'm an Aries sun with a Scorpio moon and a Leo rising. Fuck out of here. Like, those are some like strong, like tough ass placements. Like, I won't say I was like extroverted and I had a lot of friends or anything like that. Nope. Fuck that shit. Like, I had like my main like couple of friends and that was it, and that was good. But I would say like I had like a lot of intensity, and I would say like this, I wasn't like the most nicest. Not saying that I was a bully or anything like that, but I wasn't a bully. But like, I was a little bossy pants. I was confident, bossy, like my way or the highway. Like, I bossed my friends around. Like, well, as I grew like a little older, but like, and like she's a Leo like sun, possibly an Aries moon. I believe she has an Aries moon, but I don't have her time of birth or her location, so I don't know. But I did her natal chart, and for the most part, it seems pretty like accurate. But anyway, like, she was a Leo, like sun, like Aries moon, so we was all clashing. I was like, no, and pretty much to like make the story a bit like shorter, this like Libra friend that moved out. Okay, I was in that school for most of like my elementary school years, but for 1 year, like, I got out of school and then I came back. And when I came back, like, my childhood friends, like, they pretty much turned against me. I guess that year, because at this point, like, she, like, the Libra friend moves back to the country and she, like, was re-enrolled in the school. So the Libra friend, like, was there while I was gone, pretty much. And when I came back, like, they made the decision, not me, but they made the decision that they needed a break from me. And that was the Leo's friend's like exact words. We need a break from you. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Huh? And for the longest time, I was like hurt by that situation because I could understand the Leo friend just like being like, fuck you, like abandoning me. But I never had issues with like the Libra friend because, as I said before, like it was only me and Leo friend that clashed. It wasn't like the Libra friend. And me and the Leo friend, like, we knew each other longer because we were at the same school for a longer period of time than the Libra friend. But the Libra friend pretty much just went along with it, went along with what she had to say. The irony of the situation is that towards like the end of my time at that school, the Libra friend actually like came up to me because at this point the Leo friend left and went to another school and didn't come back, and I've seen her like since that time. But towards the end of like that school, like the Libra friend just like came up to me and she apologized. And I don't know, I feel like it's just like, I guess part of the nature of the Libra friend, of like Libras, like not wanting to like rock the boat and just like, but like, it's funny how things are, right? Like she apologized to me, which I commend her for because like, yeah, like as I said before, like I don't have like a personal vendetta against Libras. I'm like showing you the situation, like explaining that to you because like I don't know, that's how like the Libra like nature kind of sort of works, because I have family members that have Libra risings, Libra moon, and this is going to be a bit controversial, but air signs, their definition of loyalty is a bit different from, you know, like fire and like water signs and even like earth signs. But air and earth are very like similar. Like air signs and their loyalty is, I don't know, it has more to do with like social like politics. Like I won't say that they're disloyal or anything like that, but it's social politics. Cause that situation it's like odd to me. Like I never had any problems with you, but you let I guess the Leo sun Aries moon person just overpower you, and in that moment you didn't think for yourself. Like I would say maybe they were more closer than, like the Leo and Libra friend were more close than I was to the Libra friend. But at the same time, like you didn't like want to hear like what I was saying, how I felt. Like that year, like I pretty much didn't have any friends, and like at that point I was like, you know what, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna focus on my schoolwork. Next year I had my own crew, and I met my best friend who's a Virgo, and I love her. And but yeah, like full circle. But like since then, like I haven't had like a close Libra friend, but I have acquaintances, and like I don't know, like Libras, like I don't have like anything like too like crazy to say about them. Like their loyalty like maybe questionable at times, especially in terms with social politics, because like air signs, like I have nothing against air signs at all, but like if you peep like like, I guess like logic and social politics takes higher form than like, experience and like, I guess like history, you know what I mean? Which is a good and also a bad thing. It's a good thing because sometimes history and loyalty, like, they intertwine. Like, just because you know someone for the longest time and you have history with them doesn't mean that like you necessarily have to always automatically be loyal to someone. Because I'm gonna tell you this right now, like, the only person technically that you should have loyalty to is yourself. I know that's crazy and like antisocial, but it's like the truth. Because as I said before, people change, and sometimes their change and their growth is not compatible with your own. If that makes any sense. Like, and that's not a good or a bad thing, but it's just different. And sometimes that difference, like, can define and perhaps like dismantle a relationship or even like transform a relationship. We don't know. But yeah. And I guess like the bad side of it is that in a sense, I guess Libra and to a greater extent air signs is that, again, social politics plays a role. Like, if you do not align with what's going on socially and like in terms of like social dynamics, then you could be like, thrown out of favor, or just like they like abandon you. Because you also keep in mind that like air signs, they're like intellectual and rational, and they can rationalize themselves out of loyalty. They could say, hey, this isn't working for me anymore. This doesn't make sense. This friend I'm connecting to more, and they're more aligned with like what I want to do socially. I want to go out. I want to have a good time. And I feel like I'm being held back. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say deuce to this old friend, get with this new friend, and we'll see how it is. Nothing personal. It's not personal. It's just what it is. Which is natural, but I don't know. That kind of rubs me like the wrong way a little bit. But you know what? That's because I'm like fixed and like I'm mostly water and fire. And, water and like fire signs, they're like very like intuitive and instinctual. So like if you ride with me from day one, then more than likely, unless you fuck with me, keep that in mind. Unless you fuck with me, then I'm just gonna fuck with you until we don't fuck with each other, if you know what I mean. AKA if someone like suddenly change up or they like, disrespect you, then you have to like kick them to the curb. And that's after like considering like everything. But you know what? That's a topic for another day. And I'll talk about the Leo Libra thing another time. But yeah. Lastly, Scorpio season is near. And Jupiter Scorpio is here. Like Jupiter entered Scorpio on October 10th. And as I said in my last podcast, like Jupiter and Scorpio sextiles my Jupiter and Virgo. So I think it will be more like beneficial. Like for me, in terms of like abundance and like the goals and plans that I have going on. Because when Jupiter and like Virgo happen, It was not a good time. In some ways it was, but overall it's just like yuck, ill. And hmm, I'm cautiously optimistic. Overall, my whole message is again honesty. And I'm going to try to be, I guess, more emotionally honest because that is a bit hard for me. Random, but I have the Astrofiend Speaks project, and I've had like a bunch of blog posts like for months since like January, February. And a part of me is like afraid and apprehensive to, I guess, post them because as I said before, people out here are like savage. They don't give a fuck about you. Like they go along to get along. And once like this is kind of negative by the way, but like once they're done with you and you can't give them anything, then they're quick to turn on you. And I won't say for everyone, but social media, the use of technology has made it easier for people to do that. Like, honestly, you can only like pretty much trust yourself because the people that you're close to could like turn on you, or you can turn on the people that are close to you. It is what it is, but I'll try it. It's hard for me, but you know what? I'll try it. And you know what? If I ever become like successful, not famous, cause fuck out of here, I do not want to be famous. Fuck that shit. I like my privacy. Thank you. Send in the eighth house. Thank you. But yeah, yeah, like if I ever become successful, tuh, that's all. I'm not even gonna get into it. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, bye. Be safe. Check out my blog and my YouTube channel. Check out my song. I want to hear feedback. Your face look like it's in retrograde song. But yeah, hopefully the sound doesn't suck. Thank you. Bye.